Season 2 of Loki is mournfully finished, and despite offering us one of the most satisfying finales the MCU has ever given, a great deal of unknown remains. Loki has replaced the Temporal Loom with something better himself. Seated on the throne at the end of time, Loki accepts the burden of his glorious purpose to remain alone, using his power to keep all timelines alive. This means the full might of the multiverse lives on, beautifully depicted in the form of Yggdrasil, and the possibilities for the MCU going forward are, quite literally, infinite. Mobius, B-15, Casey, Sylvie, and OB could very well continue their journeys from here, now that He Who Remains is no longer in control of the story. With that comes a ton of unanswered questions following Loki's conclusion. Let's get into it. What is the main purpose of the TVA now? It's more than simply the branching timelines. He's given a second chance, though Loki has spared the TVA from becoming collateral damage in He Who Remains' plan. They're back in full operation, but to what end? We have to wonder. Now operating with B-15 at the helm, we know that one of the TVA's newfound missions is to monitor the variants of He Who Remains. In the final moments of Loki's finale, we learned that the TVA became aware of the Kang we met in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and felt relief knowing Scott Lang and his cohort successfully defeated him. Where is Victor Timely after Loki Season 2, and what will be his fate? What happens to Victor Timely now? His status as a helpful and, thus far, loyal ally aside, he's still a He Who Remains variant. Is he going to stay at the TVA? If so, how does he feel about their tasks of monitoring variants of himself? This particular question is one of the most open-ended that we have. If we ever visit the TVA again, it feels as though the MCU would be obligated to address Victor Timely. B-15, Casey, and OB have their functions within the institution, but Victor's only recently arrived. If he remains at the TVA, will he join them in their work? Would he even want to? If the MCU chooses to go forward with the Kang variant storyline, it would be fitting for Victor to play a role within the immense cast of Kang's variants. After Loki Season 2, what's next for Sylvie and Mobius? Sylvie and Mobius are such wonderful characters, and they're both now left with rather open-ended paths, so is there room for them within the wider MCU? Rumors have been circling, suggesting that Owen Wilson will be reprising the role of Mobius in Deadpool 3. If that turns out to be true, a lot of fans would surely be pleased, and he'd no doubt deliver a great deal of comedic chemistry alongside Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. That said, the emotional state we last saw Mobius waiting and showed him feeling rather somber, watching his children live a happy life with a variant of himself. It's tough to say what motivations could spark Mobius to set off a new mission. The same goes for Sylvie. She, essentially, got what she wanted, a chance for the branched timelines to live with free will. What fight might she have left within her? Is this the last we'll see of Loki? What about his variants? Loki has completed one of the most fully fleshed out and satisfying arcs of any character in the MCU. So, now what? Well, from a narrative standpoint, the smartest choice would be to simply leave him alone. Don't mess with a good thing, you know. With a character as beloved as Loki, however, it'll no doubt be tempting for the MCU to cash in on the fan devotion they've earned. Hopefully, if they do decide to revisit Tom Hiddleston's Loki again, it's through the use of one of his many variants out there in the multiverse. Will Thor ever know what Loki has become? Only time will tell about this one. But we've got to leave you with a rather heartbreaking question to ponder. Will our Thor ever know what his brother has become? He's seen Loki at his very worst and at moments that hinted at his very best, and he never gave up on him, even after seeing his brother wreak havoc as a true villain. However misguided he may have been, Thor always saw the good that he knew existed within Loki. It would be a true tragedy, especially after witnessing Loki's brutal death at the hands of Thanos in Avengers: Infinity War.